Hello, and welcome to the Effective Business Hub podcast, the show where we dig into innovative businesses who are rewriting the rules of operations, growth, and impact. Today's episode takes us into the world of sustainability, science, and dog treats. Our guest today is Ann Carlson, founder and CEO of Jiminy, the pioneering pet food company that's replacing traditional animal protein with cricket-based planet-friendly alternatives. Ann's on a mission to make pet nutrition sustainable without sacrificing quality, and in doing so, she's built one of the most inspiring examples of purpose-driven entrepreneurship in the pet industry. Ann, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me.
So, Ann, cricket-based alternative pet foods. How did you end up getting started and coming up with the idea of Jiminy's?
I know it sounds a little crazy when you first hear it, but I used to work for one of the big pet food companies. I've spent actually my entire career in consumer packaged goods. But then I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she told me that she didn't want to have kids. She was worried about what the world would be like by the time those kids grew up, and she was talking about climate change. As we were talking, I realized I couldn't keep doing just the normal job. Building a better future for her was everything. So I started to think about where I could have impact. And I realized that in the pet industry, we're dealing with a dual crisis. We have come to rely on a very small set of proteins. And those proteins are causing health issues, not only for ourselves, but for our pets as well. In fact, just to give an example, dog allergies are now about 20% of the population, and skin and coat issues have increased 30% in the past 5 years. But on the flip side, there's also a sustainability issue. According to a UCLA study, 25 to 30% of the environmental impact of meat consumption in the US is due to our dogs and cats. So when I looked at both of those things, I said, well, I think we could do better. Started to rethink the protein that we use in the dog food. And, I started looking at all different types of protein. I looked at smaller animals. I looked at plant-based. But as I was doing this, I'm putting everything on a page, and I threw an insect on the page. And I kind of kept coming back to that. And then I saw the UN study that said insects could be the answer to world hunger. I ordered some dry roasted crickets just to see what the dogs would think. And my dogs, actually, they started drooling immediately. They started following me around, and I was like, okay, we can work with this.
So did you try the crickets?
Yes, I did. And that was the very first time that I tried an insect. And, the first time I did it, I had to cover my eyes and pop it in my mouth. I was like, oh boy, okay, here we go. But it's surprising. It was not scary. Once I got it in my mouth, it actually was just like eating a sunflower seed. There are so many different types of, I think actually it's over 2,000 varieties of edible insects now that have been identified. And there's probably a lot more than that. But I myself have now probably tried at least 13 or 14 different types of insects. And, for the most part, I think they're great. It's only a couple of them are scary now. It's the really big ones that are a little scary. But quite frankly, when we work with it, it's a protein powder. So it's not scary at all. It's just like any other protein powder, like something you would put in a smoothie.
Wow. So at what point then, once you got everything going, did you actually step back and go, wow, this is really cool. This is going to work. I'm sure when you took it to some of your advisors and everything else, they went, insect protein for pet food? Yeah, I don't know.
I got a lot of this kind of, I'd be talking to somebody about what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden they go, wait, what? You'd have to back up and go, yeah, I'm talking about insect protein. But when I first started, there was a lot of work to be done because the insect protein was not approved for dogs in the US. A lot of people don't realize, but you have to go through the FDA and a group called AFCO to get things approved for the dogs in the US. And so we had to take that on. So we had to do all of the science to prove that it was as digestible as chicken or beef. It was prebiotic, all the different things. It was safe. It had utility. And we started that process in 2017. It took us through to 2020 to get that GRAS approval on. GRAS is generally recognized as safe on the insect protein. And that is when I really knew that we were off to the races. And I knew we had something because we'd already established dogs liked it. The dogs, we were getting great feedback. In fact, if you look online at our products, we get 4.5 to 5-star reviews on everything. The dogs love it. It actually helps the dogs with allergies. It helps dogs with gut health. So the pet owners are actually seeing the result, which is amazing. Really shiny fur. There's a lot of different areas that we've identified that the insect protein helps with, because it has, in addition to being this great protein source, it has all these bioactive compounds, things like medium chain fatty acids, chitin, antimicrobial peptides, and all of these things actually contribute to the dog's health.
I come from a family that we've raised dogs and had hunting dogs, and so feeding the high protein, high quality pet food has been something that we've consistently done. And absolutely, we've had issues with allergies and had to change formulations and change foods to find what worked with each of the dogs, because we were having some of those issues.
Yeah, it really is common. Well, think about it. There's a huge overuse of certain proteins, and that leads to allergies. And the thing that's nice about the insect protein is, well, first of all, it hasn't been overused. But second, those compounds that I was talking about, some of them actually help soothe when the dog has an issue. So one of the things that was just recently discovered and proved through peer-reviewed studies is that the insect protein helps the dog's skin retain moisture. And so that is why you see such a healthy skin and coat, and one of the reasons why it really helps when a dog has these itchy hot spots. The moisture in the skin really helps prevent all of that. I started out with sustainability, but we knew that we had to have fantastic nutrition as well. And the thing that's been so exciting working with the insect protein is finding out that the benefits, the health benefits, go so far beyond what we ever imagined. We were thinking of it as a protein replacement at the beginning. And now we're like, oh my God, it is so incredible for dogs with allergies, gut health, now oral health as well. It improves the dog's oral microbiome. We're able to actually put that as a claim on our dog food bag, and we've got dental chews now as well.
So a 3-year adventure through the wonderful world of the FDA when it was already approved for human consumption, correct?
That is right. There's a higher standard for our pets, which seems crazy until you start to think about it and think about how we generally feed our dogs. We feed them the same food every day. So if there's any kind of issue with any of those ingredients, it's going to show up in the dog's health. You and I, we're eating different things every single day. So we really take care in what is approved for the dogs.
So what did operations look like initially once you actually got through the regulatory and actually said, oh, hey, we can actually start making something?
Yeah.
So what did your operations look like when you first got started?
Well, we actually started making treats before we got through all of the authorization, and partly because we wanted to understand what do the dogs like, and how do we work with this protein, because it's different, right? So we started with the treats, and we started with like a really small mom and pop co-packer, somebody who was making their own and just had a little extra capacity to make somebody else's. The first time we had a production run, we were so excited. We had 2 pallets that were delivered to us. I laugh now when I think about it. And it was 2 pallets, and we cleared out space in my mom's garage, and that's where we stored it. And so, fast forward to today where we're working with, I think we've got 4 different co-packers working in different locations. And, we have our own big warehouse that we bring all the product to ship out. It's a very different world, right?
So any early lessons that really shaped when you first were getting started there, that really shaped how you run the company today that you've really held on to?
Well, I think always thinking about how the dogs are reacting to our products is something. It's something that I really cared about at the very beginning, and I care about as deeply today, because if the dog doesn't dig in and love it, the owner is going to be like, even if it's really good for them, they've got to like the taste. They've got to want to dig into it. So we spend a lot of time doing palatability testing. That's actually a thing. And just really thinking about what is the dog going to love and be able to eat on repeat.
So when you were getting started, was there ever a time when you were putting this all together, making it work? This process shouldn't be that hard. And what did you have to change to actually make it work for you?
Oh, everything is harder than I ever thought it would be. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, no, I seriously, you start to get into it, and the devil is in the details always, right? You think, oh, how hard could it be? We send some insect protein here. They source some of the ingredients for us. They put it together. Nah, it's harder. It's harder because you're working with nutritionists, and then you're working to make sure that you have a product that is affordable, and that you've got the right packaging, and that you've got the right claims on the packaging, and that every state is going to accept those claims. Because we actually go through a process where we have veterinarians who review our package to say, New Mexico will accept this. California will accept this. Every state has to accept the packaging. So
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of things like that when I first started, I was not aware that was a thing.
Wow. I would have automatically, given the nature of California's kind of regulatory structure out there, I would have thought that, hey, if I met everything in California, you'd be good to go. That's not the case.
It's not the case. Every state is a little bit different and what's important to them. So luckily, we've got a great team that we work with that has these veterinarians who understand down to this minute detail what each state is concerned about and helping us to navigate that.
So when you're dealing with all of these co-packers, different products, different ingredients, how do you track your margins and profitability? You've got a myriad of distribution now.
Yep.
And what kind of tools do you use to keep track and make sure that, hey, I'm doing stuff, but am I actually making money?
Well, luckily, I have a really great partner in Bill Reed. He's my chief operating officer and CFO. And a couple of years back, we realized that we needed to get actually more granular in how we were looking at the numbers. So we were always looking at profitability by product line. But then what we did is we took it down to channel level. So every single channel, we're looking at like, what is our cost to deliver into that channel to get it to that end consumer? And there's a lot of different fees depending on where you are, different marketing, different this, different that, and getting that so that it lined up channel by channel so we could look at the profitability by channel was a really big deal and really important to basically where we are today. We're approaching break even, which is a really exciting place to be.
So when you say looking at by channel, so direct, Amazon, Petco, that type of thing?
Exactly. Every place where we're selling the product, Chewy, independent pet, looking at it from when we sell to independent pet, some of it goes direct to the retailer, some of it goes through a distributor. And so each of those have different margin structures.
Wow. That's quite a bit to keep track of.
The hard part was getting the report set up so that we could look at it that way. Once it was set up, though, it was like so eye-opening and great because we knew what we needed to work on. We knew where we had issues, where we didn't. And we said, oh, we needed to be more like that. And some of it was even shifting emphasis. Maybe we put a little bit more emphasis into our Jiminys.com versus, say, Amazon.
I was going to say, did that cause a balance shift for you sometimes?
It did. And it's continuous too, because things change all the time. As we go into the holidays, Amazon has surges in their fee structure. And what does that mean? But Amazon is a place you kind of have to be if a consumer is going to find you. But then looking at it and going, oh, well, maybe Chewy might be a better place, or maybe our own website again comes into play. So it's back and forth all the time.
So when you say you shift focus, do you actually change marketing, or how do you shift that focus?
It's like where the spend is allocated. So some spend goes into putting our product in front of consumers, say on Meta, which would take it to the website, or in Chewy, making sure that our products are presenting themselves to the consumer as they're searching on Chewy. So there's different ways that we're trying to introduce the product to people and get it top of mind. And we're just shifting those dollars constantly. In fact, we look at this on a weekly basis.
So have you ever had a time when you're like, okay, here's my market realities and here's the environmental impact I'm trying to make, and has there ever been a clash of those?
Well, luckily for us, the environmental side of it is just a given. It's part of our DNA, right? Because what we do with this insect protein, it just is so much better than any of the alternatives. So if you look at insect protein versus, say, cow or chicken, less land, less water, almost no greenhouse gases. And just to give you an example, on the land front, if you've got an acre of land and you put chickens on it, at the end of the year, you'll have 265 pounds of protein. But if you put crickets on that same land, you'll have 65,000 pounds of protein. And this is what I mean. It's part of our DNA. It really is. We've chosen to work with a protein that is fundamentally more sustainable than the other alternatives that are out there. And I don't want to say luck, because it was more intentional than that, but we're just so happy that the health benefits are there as well.
So every founder I ever talk to, there's always one admin task. They go, you know what? If I could eliminate that from my life, I would be much happier. So what is your Achilles heel of admin?
Oh God, there's so many. Just like managing my to-do list and my calendar is painful. Yeah, maybe it is that. It really is like just managing my calendar right now is horrible. So if I had somebody who could just take that over, I'd be like, oh, thank you. Just tell me where I have to show up.
So in light of that, have you looked at, or have you integrated AI into any of your processes or anything like that that's come down, or is that still just a shiny thing that really needs proven?
Well, actually, when I look, for me, I'm looking at AI from a different perspective right now, because what's really important to me is how it is changing the behavior of our consumers. And how do they search for products, and how do they learn about products, and what is the information that they need through the AI? So we've really been focused on how do we make sure that we've got information accessible in the right ways for the AI to be able to read it and present it to the end consumer. We've got this incredible Learn section on our website. It has the science and the sustainability and nutrition facts and about dogs and just all these different areas that help to educate consumers. But if the consumer doesn't actually go to the site anymore, they expect to get everything from AI. How do we make sure that AI has scanned all of that so that the answers are there for them? That's where my head is at these days.
How AI is really changing the search optimization, basically.
Even on Amazon, Rufus is the little question and answer on the side as you're searching products. How do we make sure that we are providing the right answers to the questions that Rufus might be surfacing? Because we don't want it to come back as, oh, sorry, we couldn't find that information. We want to make sure it finds that information, you know?
So when you're looking at Jiminy's and you're looking now, okay, you've got things rolling, you're doing really great. So where do you see your growth bottleneck right now for Jiminy's over the next couple of years?
Yeah, where I see us growing is in distribution. So in-store distribution, we really have, I think, a good understanding and approach to the online world, DTC, but making sure that the product is in places where the consumer can discover it in a store, if that's how they prefer to shop. So we're really kind of focusing in on that. And what does that mean? How do we get the product to those places in a way that it is still economically feasible? So we're starting to work again with a distributor to do that. We're looking at what do we need to do from an overall education perspective, educating the people that work in the stores so that they can talk about it credibly. There's a lot of different pieces to it, and that I think is going to be huge for us as we move into the next couple of years.
So does that include like maybe higher end grocery stores and like your Costco's or something like that, or what is that looking like?
First off, still sticking within pet, but then perhaps more mass merchants as well, where the consumer base is the right consumer base. Our consumers tend to skew a little bit younger. So millennials, Gen Z. And so it's thinking about where do they prefer to shop and making sure that's where we're showing up.
Yep. What is the most time consuming part about working with those additional distributors? Does your intermediary distributor handle that, or do you have to cut each deal separately?
Part of it is us working on contracts with bigger retailers, but a lot of times those bigger retailers we ship to directly because they have their own warehouses. So you don't need the distributor. For the distributors, it's more getting out there and helping with the sales team, educating the team that they've got, making sure they know who to reach on our side. It's all of those like little inner workings that take up a lot of time, especially at the beginning.
As you're looking at the fact that you've really got kind of the niche to yourself right now, is there any of the larger companies that are going to be, that you feel are going to be basically on your heels or providing a threat to you at any point?
I think it's possible that we'll see other entrants coming in. We already see a lot of smaller companies coming in, and that's fine. I mean, it's one of those things where it's becoming a category, and that's what we always intended. We're the market leader. I just want to continue to maintain that market leader's position, and I think we're well situated to do that because we have. Not only do we have the cricket protein, we also have the grub protein. So we have varieties of insect protein within our portfolio. And we've really thought about what are all the different times of the day when the consumer needs a product. And we're making sure that our portfolio works for them so that they don't have to switch out. And then like if their dog has allergies, switch out and then find that whatever the treat is that they gave them caused the allergies to flare again. So we want to make sure we've got the treats, we've got the dental chews, we've got the training treats, we've got the food.
As you've seen some people enter into that competition type area, what does that look like as you've seen people come in? Does it really just kind of help push the whole market up?
It's a rising tide kind of thing. And so I've always been happy to see that there's more than just us. And one of the places that we have seen it a little bit is coming into prescription diets for dogs. And it just proves that where we're focused is the right place to focus, that it's about the allergies, it's about the gut health. Because that's where prescription diets come into play for dogs. And what's exciting is we can do it and solve those problems for the dogs at a lower price point than those prescription diets.
When you're talking to your consumers, which has really gotten the traction, the sustainability or the nutrition?
It's funny you should ask that. It's the nutrition. We thought at the beginning sustainability was going to be key. It is definitely important to some of our customers, many of our customers, but it's an and. It is nutrition and sustainable. So there's no compromises. So we lean in with the nutrition side and solving problems for the pet parent. And then the fact that it's sustainable is a really nice and for them. Also, very humane.
Yeah.
Which matters
too.
So
was that a surprise to you when you finally got in the market? You're like, oh, I didn't expect that. I mean, how did that evolve?
Well, I thought that sustainability would resonate would be enough to bring a lot of consumers in, but it wasn't. It's the nutrition which, when I step back, I'm like, duh. But you when you start something because I started it with purpose. You heard about my daughter. I thought, oh God, everybody must feel this way. But then I realized, well, not really. What's really important here is the health of the dog. And good news is that we do a fantastic job with that.
When you were mentioning moving your money from market to market as far as which one you're focusing on, given how your different channels are performing, do you have a big plan of how to automate, or is that already automated, or is that something that you're planning on automating as you're looking forward this 2-3 years down the road, trying to still stay ahead and get more efficient?
Well, I think that's where things like AI will start to come into play for us, is how do we look at things more easily and be more nimble? And if it can help suggest changes in what we're doing, that would be fantastic. It's not happening today, but we are starting, a little bit to use it for analyzing consumer feedback, analyzing when we have a lot of data in a certain area. The AI is very helpful in making sense of it.
So how many people are actually direct there with Jiminy? Or are you primarily contract?
We have a very small core team. And then we use a lot of specialists, but the specialists, we have worked with them for a while in most cases. And I've had really good luck working with specialists. We treat them as if they're part of the team, and everybody basically gets to weigh in on what they think we need to do. And we listen. And I actually really like bringing in outside people like this because they have so much experience and we can quickly get them up to speed on the brand. And then I think we benefit from it.
And actually, it's been a common theme with the folks that I've been interviewing and working with is the fact that one of the reasons they like the contract and the ability to go out and effectively get channel professionals, a couple things. One, they get the straight scoop, so they're not going to be as sensitive to your feelings.
Yes. Very true.
And then also you're getting years of experience without having to build it and grow it.
Right.
And
luckily I have a thick skin. Sometimes they'll come in and they'll be like, what are you doing? And well, we thought that was right.
So if you ever won any of those challenges, I mean, sometimes that's part of the founder's job is to say, okay, I got to stick to my guns and we're going to die on this hill here. So
if it's fundamental to the business, then of course, I will stick to I don't want anything that's going to make us a different brand than who we are. Because I think being authentic to what you started to do and what your objectives are is really important. But when it comes to tactics and what do you need to do on TikTok versus Instagram versus, I'm all ears. Tell me. It's crazy the detail that you get into because they're fundamental to the business, right? How do you reach consumers today?
And that is the key, right? You know, and so one of my next questions would be, as you look at your business evolve, what evolves the most, the production, the tech, or the awareness piece?
Awareness. I think awareness.
Just to really drive that home?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a great set of products. It really is just making sure that consumers know who we are, what we're doing, and how it can help their dog. I think that's critically important and where we need to focus. Get the word out.
When you're actually looking at the production of your product, are there any big innovations in materials or supply tracking that you see out there that you're like, hey, that's going to be really helpful?
Well, we have things that we've planned to do and ideas that we have. Well, we have a robust product pipeline. So you'll see new products from us over the next few years. Clearly, we've been around for a short period of time and we already have all these products, and they were added pretty much one a year. So we'll continue to do, add on to the portfolio where it makes sense. But yeah, for us, I think knowing we have a great portfolio, it's really helping consumers find it.
When you were building all this, if you could point to one thing that you just got right, other than the fact that the insect protein, not only was it a great protein alternative, it ended up being the nutritional superpower. What else did you get that you said, okay, I actually did that right. I was really smart and it actually worked?
Oh boy. I think it probably comes down to the ingredients that we put together in the foods. I feel like we got our recipes right. And to me, that is really gratifying because they work for the dogs, and it's just a great ingredient list on every single product. And the dogs love it. It works. And it's recognizable for the consumer as well. Like they read the ingredient list and they're like, oh, quinoa, sweet potatoes, oats. Yeah, I know what those things are. So I feel really great about that.
Well, I think we're wrapping up here, but it's time for the shameless plug. So if people are looking for you, where would they go to find Ann and Jiminy's?
The best place to go is our website, jiminies.com, and that's JIMINYS.com.
This has been an incredible conversation for me. A lot of times all I could say is, wow. But thank you for sharing your mission and the operational reality behind building your sustainable brand that truly walks a walk. For our listeners, you can find more about Jiminy's at jiminy's.com and follow the journey as they continue redefining what sustainability means in the pet world. I'm Tom Dimmer, and this has been the Effective Business Hub podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay effective, and keep innovating.